Hi, my name is Gordy Hogue, and this is Community Connection. Each of us have stories that help us understand each other and help to bring our community closer together. I have been very fortunate to have met many interesting people who've had a positive, profound impact on our community and far beyond. People who've had incredible life experiences and fascinating stories. Community Connections is about these people and about their stories. I'm sure you'll enjoy meeting these amazing people as much as I have. Thank you. Please enjoy. Welcome to Community Connections. Today's guest is a woman who has contributed to our growth and well-being as a community for nearly 60 years. She is the foundation of a family that has had a profoundly positive impact on our community. And I'm so pleased to welcome Dorothy Filsinger. Welcome, Dot. Thank you for agreeing to talk with us today.
My pleasure.
Pleasure to have you here. So can you tell us a little bit about where you were born and how your transition to eventually getting to our community?
Well, I was born in Sarnia, Ontario, went to elementary and high school, and then I went to, then it was the Ontario Agricultural College and McDonald Institute, and now it's the University of Guelph. And Howard and I met there, and in my fourth year, we decided we would get married. And that was a shock to our family. People didn't do that then.
What was it about him that attracted you to that or agreed to that?
Well, we sort of hit it off for the start. Yeah,
right from the start.
And anyway, we moved to Toronto. So I finished up at U of T. And that was a very interesting year. We had to find accommodation, and we ended up in a home out in Roncesvalles with two maiden aunts. And it's a wonder we're still married, because everything Howard said was right, and anything I said, they checked with Howard.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a good year. Yeah.
And what did you graduate in?
I graduated basically in food chemistry, food nutrition. Yeah. And then everyone either went into textiles or into foods, dietetics. But I was not a lover of hospitals, so I decided I would take the route of teaching. And I guess when when we moved to White Rock, the boys, when I started teaching, Bruce was, I think, about 13 and Brian 11.
So were you not in Saskatchewan for a while? And
yeah.
Prior to coming to White Rock?
Yes, we were married in 54, and 55 or 56, we moved to Central Butte, Saskatchewan.
Oh.
And that was a shock, 500 people. And then we were there about 3 years. And then
were the boys were born there as well?
Yes, both of them.
Both. Yeah.
And then we moved to Gravelbourg, Saskatchewan. And that was interesting, a very French community. And we got involved in the community. Howard curled, and he was on a rink with one of the priests and two Mounties. So they won the Bonspiel, and they called them the Law and the Prophets. But anyway, we had a good time there. Yeah. And in 63, we moved to White Rock.
What was it that brought you to White Rock? I think I remember you coming and staying with Mom and Dad, or at least Howard staying with Mom and Dad when he came for an interview.
No, actually, he didn't come for an interview.
Oh,
do you remember the Krings?
Yes. Yeah.
Gordon Kring's dad and mother came to Gravelbourg, came and sort of interviewed us. And then Max Green phoned Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they decided, well, maybe he'd do. So, and Howard volunteered to do the packing. Of course, you know who did.
Yes.
So we set out for White Rock and a bit, concerned. How would we fit in? Would we be accepted? But all went well. No regrets.
What was your feeling about the or first impressions of the community coming to from small community in Saskatchewan to this community?
Oh, I was happy, very happy. Vancouver, very close. And yes, I'd grown up in the city. And yeah, it was great.
Did Howard feel the same way at that point about the community?
Uh, well, Howard wanted to go as a missionary. Uh, and then I think he also was interested in going up north. But I did a bit of persuasion and we ended up in White Rock.
He's pretty lucky to have had you there to make those decisions and help him out with that. I think because I remember Dad saying something about Bruce County, and he'd had some
Oh yeah,
connections with Bruce County.
your dad, Port Elgin,
Yeah, Port
yeah,
Elgin.
and Kincardine,
Yeah,
yeah, and yes, yeah, and your dad was a grad of Western.
yeah, University of Western Ontario.
Yeah, I always thought London was a really pretty nice place too. Yeah.
So from there, then did you eventually got teaching home ec out in BC too?
Right. Earl Marriott came to the house and wanted me to go teaching. They were short of teachers. And I didn't have my certificate. So I thought, no, I'd get my certificate and then I would go. So for a while, I taught or went out to St. Euphrasia's.
Yeah, I remember that.
And remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I was there for a few years. And then 1970, I went to Cloverdale Junior. And then they needed another high school, so they built Earl Marriott. And in 73, I guess, I went to Earl Marriott and retired in 97.
Now, tell me a little bit about that first home ec class. I understand that it was all boys.
It was.
What was that like teaching all boys in a home ec class in those days?
Well, if you fed them, they were happy.
It's that simple. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a bit intimidating. But then if I had questions, I had 3 men at home to help me out with good answers. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
How many years did you teach there?
3.
3 years?
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
Cloverdale.
At Cloverdale.
Yeah. And then at Earl Marriott.
And Earl Marriott from then till 97. Yeah.
And teaching all boys. So I wish I'd had,
No,
well, that
uh,
first class, I guess, was
oh
all.
yeah,
Yeah.
first class. Yeah, but then I did some textiles and I did some math. And anyway, interesting.
Yeah.
And then they brought in some tourism classes around the time of Expo and that. So that was fun. Mhm.
So you were very flexible in being able to respond to all kinds of needs in the school.
Well, tried.
Yeah. So when you and Howard came here, Howard made some changes to the focus of the First United Church. Can you talk a little bit about some of those changes in terms of the delivery of services and the amount of time he spent in the community?
Well, the reason I went into teaching, Howard was out a lot at meetings. And I thought rather than, complain about him not being home, I thought I'll get a career too. And, but Howard became very involved in the community. And I think he really enjoyed his work. When we first came, there was an evening service, And but then they discontinued that, and Howard got involved in the softball. And I remember once he had to be away, and he would take the concession trailer up to the park. He convinced me I had to drive it, and that was not fun.
So he, I think, was one of the first people to have to reach out from the religious community into the more broad community in a more open way, and sort of became
He
so
did.
publicly engaged.
He was on the hospital board for
Yeah,
9 years. Yeah. And with the boys.
yeah.
Yeah, their sports. Yeah.
So he was very active in the community, and so your way of dealing with that eventually was to establish yourself, but you made many contributions to the community in many ways as well, outside of
Well,
teaching.
it worked out.
Yeah.
And when I started, the boys were well on their way. I didn't feel guilty leaving them.
So and since your retirement, and you've been still involved, and I think you have a pretty close contact still with Joan and Bruce McMurtry and their families, and our connections with them. What are the things
Yeah.
you're doing now to keep yourself vibrant and alive and excited and so focused?
Well, doing a lot of knitting. I don't know if you have heard of the knitted knockers. They're a prosthesis for people who have had breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been quite involved in that, and knitting for the hospice, and doing what I can. But each year, I notice I'm slowing down. I can't do what I used to. But anyway, I'm quite happy in retirement, independent retirement living. Yeah.
So over the years since coming to this community in 1963, what are the kind of changes you've seen in the development of the community compared to what it was like when you first arrived here?
Oh, the growth. I can't believe it. I know I would walk and up to 16th, and that was the end. There would seem to be just trees after that. And now, oh, how it has grown. It's amazing. Yeah. Quite
And,
a but
sorry?
then quite a change.
Certainly has been a dramatic change.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So do you think we've been able to hold on to the spirit of the community, that sense of connectedness that we used to have, or is that something that with growth it naturally leaves us to some degree?
It does, but still there is, I think, a community involvement. And even in the building where I am now, they're very involved in the community, and the owner is very much a community person. So, and of course, there are so many seniors requiring, changes, and the community is certainly providing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With your experience and all of the education you've had over the years, if there were some magic changes you could make to our community? What were the things you'd look at in terms of being able to ensure that we were more compassionate and caring in the growth as we move ahead?
I think basically for seniors, enjoy your memories and let the younger people take over. They've got the ideas, they know what, is needed more. I think I tend to think in the past and try not to. And my grandchildren have helped me a lot with that.
And I'm sure you've helped them a lot as well in terms of grasping and understanding that from a different perspective.
My granddaughter's sitting over on the side and shaking her head.
Positively or negatively?
Oh, positively.
So how have you been able to establish with your life and your family, and how have you been able to establish that type of balance in your life that I think becomes such a challenge for so many people?
Well, I think it's their adaptability. I mean, I have wonderful sons and daughters-in-law and grandchildren, and it's worked out. Really, no difficulties.
And I think that when my growing up in the community, and I remember when your family came to our community, that reference was often made to you being the foundation of the family, that you were the one that provided that sense of balance and getting grounded. Do you think that that is, do you see yourself in that role, or do you look back and see that the way so many of us in the community saw you?
I would say there were moments and struggles, but it all turned out. Yeah.
Yeah, we all have struggles, and it's our
We
ability to
should
be
do.
resilient and work our way through those challenges, and that's become the challenging part of growing up and living and continuing to go on when we were faced with those types of difficulties and challenges moving on. And certainly you've been a foundation for that for our community in so many ways that have a look to that. Now, I can remember shopping at Safeway when Howard was sent out to get something, and I would see him eating a jelly donut.
Oh, I know, I know.
and he would say,
Many months.
and he would say
Yeah.
to me, "Don't tell Dot. Whatever you do not tell Dot that I'm eating this jelly donut."
Well, that was my mission to keep him from gaining weight, but I failed.
Well, you accomplished so many things, and that, and he and I think my dad both had a lot of really bad jokes that they told along the way.
Yes, I think, well, I know Howard did.
Yeah. Now, was it Howard's joke about how do you tell Ronald McDonald in a nudist colony?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I didn't hear that. You
Apparently,
didn't tell me all of them.
apparently he's the one with the sesame seed buns.
Oh,
And I think Dad told me that, and I thought Dad had said that Howard had told him that over the time.
probably.
But I think they both had a unique sense of humor that I think they laughed harder at their jokes than anyone else did, which brought.
Yes, and I remember Howard having the score of the um, football games or whatever brought up on the collection plate so we could tell the congregation.
Yeah, yeah. So are there important messages or lessons that you've got for us that as a result of you recently celebrating your 88th birthday party and
Hmm.
your 88th birthday, are there things that messages that you think would be important for not just your grandchildren, but for our community at large that we can learn from you?
Well, at my age, I would say don't give too much advice unless it's asked for and enjoy the memories. And,
That's awfully sorry. Yeah, I think.
and you know, I think the younger people, it's time. Gosh, when we came to White Rock, I think I was in my early 30s and Howard a couple of years older. And, we had our chance to make an imprint. And now it's people in their 30, 40, 50s. And just sit back and enjoy.
Well, you've certainly set a great example for the foundation you've provided and the way you've lived your life and the contributions that you've made that so many of us can learn from. If Bruce wanted me to ask a question now, what would that question be?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Bruce, what would it be?
The importance of family.
Yes. Well, for me, it's been, the family. And I remember being at university and the professor then talking about the extended family because, it used to be people didn't travel much more than 20 miles from home. And now So many people have their family not near them, away in other provinces or countries.
Yeah.
And I appreciate what White Rock gave to us, because they were our extended family.
And which of your granddaughters is sitting there?
Jillian, and she's just graduated as a nurse.
Yeah. So what question would Jillian want to ask you?
I can't come up with a question.
She just laughs at me and shakes her head.
Jillian, what would you like to have your grandmother say for the benefit of this interview?
Of this interview, I'll just go with what everyone else has been saying: the importance of family and community.
What has your grandmother meant to you?
My grandma has been a great source of leading me on the right path and encouraging me to, keep striving for my absolute best, and being my best hype woman. Always encouraging me.
There's a pretty nice attribute, a statement to say. And Bruce, what has your mother meant to you over all these years in family life?
Aside from the financial part.
Yes.
Okay. Mom was always there, somebody that I could confide in and ask for advice and not feel that I was being judged. She would listen and give her her point of view, but never judged me. And I think that's so important.
Yeah. And how about your father?
My father, he would be judgmental and push me, but I always appreciated it. He was one individual, honestly say, going to church, I enjoyed listening to his sermons because they weren't about necessarily, they were aspects of the Bible, but he put it according to what was happening in world news. And I really enjoyed that. And he kept it to an hour.
Yes, he was pretty religious about that, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So, Dorothy, listening to that and listening to a granddaughter and a son talk about you and Howard and the influence you've had, it sounds like you've had a pretty profound impact in a positive sense on them, as well as on our community. And is there anything you'd like to say to wrap up the comments in the interview, and anything you'd like to say more broadly or more personally?
Well, I'd just like to say you had a wonderful mother and father, and certainly you've done them proud. And Joan and Linda and John.
Mentors. Our parents were mentors.
Bruce says the parents were mentors. I don't know about me. I think I broke a finger trying to teach Bruce physics.
No, I think clearly you and Howard have been mentors and role models for so many of us in the community, and certainly Bruce's comments with respect to Howard and his sermons were sermons that connected and had a day-to-day meaning and weren't lost in some more biblical sense of the world, but the values came through clearly and reflected for our world, and I've always appreciated that.
You've done, all your family have done your parents proud, and certainly will still follow your career.
Well, I think we're all pretty blessed, as your family has been pretty blessed with the parents we've had and the support of a community that we've grown up in and been a part of. And and I know that Brian and Bruce have contributed to our community in so many meaningful ways, and certainly the role models that both you and Howard provided for them were a significant part of that. And I know that my siblings feel pretty blessed with our parents and the contributions they've made to us and to the community largely. So I feel we've been pretty fortunate growing up in this community and being able to be a part of it.
Yeah, a wonderful place.
Thank you for joining us today on Community Connections. Please tune in to our next show as more amazing people share their wonderful stories. If you haven't already, please click on the red subscribe button below, right down there, and view our updates. Feel free to leave any thoughts or comments that you may have. We're always trying to do a better job of connecting this wonderful community. Thanks again for joining, and until next time, keep connecting. Thank you.